Pirates Life for me. It's Romania Black, and I wish you could see my brother's face right now. Because...
Hey.
He is joining me as we are watching the One Piece live action series. Neither of us have watched ahead. We've only seen the first episode so far. I'm pretty excited about that, but we are going to be talking about episode 2 today and watching it. But before we do, we have a couple comments that some people have left for us from Patreon to talk about before we start this episode. There will be spoilers, just so you know. People seem to like it last week. They seem to like that we were talking spoilers and we're getting all into everything. Somebody was like, I haven't watched past the Alabasta arc, but I don't care to be spoiled. And I was like, ah! So, you know what? You enter at your own risk. You have joined this ship at your own risk.
To be fair, by the time we get to some of these ones, it's going to be a while.
Yeah. So you may forget between now and then. So that's all right. But some of these comments have a few little minor spoilers. So if you are live action only, just enter at your own risk. Tiny Truck for episode 1 says, at first I was mildly unsure about what to make of Gold Roger's sun reveal this early on, but the more I thought about it, the more I liked it. I'm all for confusing the live action onlys. I mean, with the sun reveal and the he laughs like Roger reveal, it's so obviously going to make many of them think that it's Luffy. But if they're paying attention, they would know it's a misdirect. Since Logtown is full of the 22nd anniversary banners and Luffy is 17, the seeds are there for people who pay attention. I thought that was pretty cool. I forgot about the 22nd anniversary. Yeah. That's really neat. They also said, I've got to say, your brother has fun taste. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that Beige and Walpole are their top favorites, LMAO. But top 3 is hard. I can't even think of who mine would be. There are so many great characters. I think the top 3 just rotate around who is the last relevant person or who the last cool person I was that I saw. So, yeah. I mean, eclectic tastes. I mean, what's the fun in picking out generic favorites, right? And then Alexander Q for episode 1 says, I've said it before and I'll say it again, but the way Sanji is a genuine gentleman in the live action is so welcome for me. He's a really cool character and I always have some trouble connecting to him because because of his more perverted inclinations, but having him be more rational and actually charming and flirty is a godsend. Someone pointed out that this season looks much better than season 1 because they didn't need to spend so much money on building a replica of the Mary. And that makes so much sense. I think it's a massive success of season 1, as well as being helped by the fact that you can have a bigger budget because you don't have to build a replica of a ship. They've already got it. So that is really good. And then their final thing was they said they rewatched season 1 in preparation for this season, and it was fun seeing them back to back and noticing all the details. Like the song that the guy is singing in another language right before Bartolomeo finds Luffy is My Sails Are Set, the Nami theme that we get to hear at the end of season 1. And it's pretty cool. The song is now canonically real, and they added it to the world. So that's cool. Because I think I remember you said that the song sounded familiar, and it's like, oh, it's the Nami theme from last season. So that's really awesome. But cool. Well, thank you all so much. There were other comments as well, but those had some things worth mentioning. So I'm pretty excited. Episode 2 is called Good Whale Hunting. And I'm like, oh, it's a play on Goodwill Hunting. So we're just going to see how that goes. But anyway, thank you all so much. We are going to get started with One Piece live action season 2, episode 2, Good Whale Hunting. And we are going to watch this here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Okay. Oh, I looked. So again, spoilers. Y'all knew there was gonna be spoilers. Like as you were launching it, I was like, you're launching into like season 3 stuff, probably, if season 3 is Alabasta. So spoilers from here on in. Y'all know how the discussion works. So yeah, I do remember the stuff with Laboon. I completely forgot about. This has exited my brain entirely.
Yeah, they reversed what happened in the manga and anime when they go into Laboon. Mm-hmm. The rest of the crew meets Crocus.
Oh!
And then Luffy's on the outside trying to punch Laboon, and eventually they get out. But here it's swapped. Luffy meets Crocus, and
Oh, okay. Which I guess that does make more sense in the manga. I actually liked it being reversed, where the crew inside meets Miss Wednesday, which is Vivi. It's Vivi, the princess that's missing. That's her. And then Mr. Nine. Mr. Nine? Who is Mr. Nine? Just Mr. Nine. We don't find out his name.
Yeah. He stops after Whiskey Peaks.
Okay. So we have Mr. Nine, which I don't know when we're getting to Whiskey Peaks. Do we think that's next?
That's next.
Okay, so he's probably going to stick around till they get to Whiskey Peaks and then...
Yeah, those two jump overboard when they see Whiskey Peaks coming up, and that's when we get Zoro's badass one-man army fight.
Oh, I'm excited for that. But yeah, so Vivi, we've met Vivi. Like her already. I like her as I like her characterization. I like they've introduced her. It felt like, okay, Princess is missing. There's Vivi. She's Miss Wednesday, but...
We don't know it's Vivi yet.
Right, we don't. But I mean, if those that have seen the show know it's going to be her. Right, and Mr. Zero's Crocodile. Clearly, yes. I have a feeling that by the end... Do you think by the end of the season, they'll reveal that she's Vivi, and we'll see like a preview of Mr. Crocodile?
Well, they learn who she is at Whiskey Peaks.
Oh, okay. So they figure out see, a lot of this, when you talked about Alabasta, I remember a lot, because Alabasta, I really liked Vivi's character in the manga, and I liked all of, like, her dad, her companions, everything, and then the whole battle with Croc and Luffy is so good. And then, of course, Robin involved in all that, which is Miss All Sunday. That Alabasta I remember a lot because we meet Ace. Like you said, they're at the bar, and that's when they run into Smoker, and it's great. But everything up until Alabasta, other than meeting Chopper and Chopper's mom, I have blanked out of my brain. Like 20 years ago, out of my brain. So...
Well, it's Whiskey Peaks, Zoro and Luffy end up fighting for...
Well, we'll probably see it next week, so it'll be fun to remember that. But yeah, so there's a lot I want to talk about in this. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. But the way that they're already bringing Helmeppo and Colby back into this. So there's a good chance Smoker and Tashigi will be involved.
They were doing that in the first season. Mm-hmm. First time we meet Kobe after he leaves and joins the Marines is after Water 7, where him and Helmeppo have the glow up. They fight Zoro and Luffy, and Zoro actually remembers Helmeppo's name.
Honestly, Helmeppo is already kind of like getting buff, and I'm just waiting for the long locks to show up. I'm like, okay.
And he wields the Kukuri knife.
Yeah, so I mean, Helmeppo's actor buffed up between season 1 and now. I was like, you know what's going on.
Well, they're Marine cadets.
Right, but that's what I mean. It fits the training. Like, it feels more like they both look different from season 1 because they've been training, so it fits the canon of them doing that. All right, let's dive into... I want to get this episode geared back up and have some pictures to show with y'all here because this was good. Also, I'm not crying, you're crying. I looked over and you had the single little sliver tear, like with Brooks and Laboon. I looked over and you had like the little tears coming down. I was like, I don't blame you. It was so sad.
Brooke has the saddest backstory.
Yes, freaking whale Laboon getting everybody's feels up in this. What did you think of? I liked Brooks' actor.
I like him. He plays the part wonderfully.
His voice sounds exactly like Brooks. So good. The yo-ho-ho-ho. Like, that was perfect.
And singing, perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If they're going to have Brooke in here, I am a little concerned because he's going to have to be a skeleton.
They're going to CGI that like Chopper. They're going to have to.
If they can make Brooks CGI look as good as the Skeletor in the new He-Man movie, the face of Skeletor is perfect. If they could pull that off,
I think they will. The CGI in here, I know a lot of people which we've not gotten to Chopper yet, but if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the trailer. A lot of people, look, Chopper is one of those things, not everybody's going to be happy with it. If you use a practical puppet, there's going to be people that say it looks like a gremlin practical puppet. If you do it all CGI, there's going to be people that say he looks like a dog, or like said that. He's got different modes. He can't help it. But, like, you're not going to please everybody with it. I feel like with Brooks being a skeleton later on, skeletons are more easy to... It's a skeleton. You can make the skeleton work. I feel like Chopper is like, you weren't going to please everybody no matter what you did. Which I'm fine with it.
I mean, even using the stuff they use for, like, Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one.
Yeah.
The Undead Pirate Crew.
Mm-hmm. All they have
to do is make it all skeleton.
Yeah, I I'm pretty confident they're going to be able to handle Brooks because that's bread and butter. Like, they're doing it in the opening every week. So you just got to make that mouth move like a scale. I think they'll be fine with it.
Chopper and Frankie are going to be the real.
Frankie's going to be, look, I think they can pull off Frankie, but it's going to be a lot. Frankie's going to be a lot.
Somebody's going to have the live action Popeye the Sailor Man arms.
I mean, I feel like they can blend CGI with a real motion capture stuff and make it work. I think it'll be, but it's just finding the right actor to play Frankie is going to be like, because Frankie is so larger than life that actor is going to be there. It's like you're 150% all the time.
He's a cyborg in a Speedo. He doesn't care what people think.
Mm-hmm. He's representing America. I love that Oda's like, of all the straw hats, like, Frankie is the representative from America. And I'm like, that checks out.
Well, let's see. He loves his boat. Mm-hmm. He's filled to the brim with guns, explosives, lasers. He's a huge showman.
Mm-hmm. It tracks.
And he ran over a pirate emperor with a motorcycle shaped like a rhino.
Tracks. Just tracks in general. Frankie's going to be fun when we get to it. There's already people speculating who's going to play Perona, and I'm just like, that's too far from now. We can't be getting into that.
That's actually Brooke. That's the same artist.
With Brooks, yeah. Which they may bring Perona out earlier than later. I mean, I'm sure. I like Perona a lot. She's one of my favorites. So
I get to see them showing, like, Hogback and all them as, like, a final episode post-credits scene.
That would be a cool, like, little end of the season, like, post-credit. That would be kind of cool. Mm-hmm.
That's when we get Moria, the
Absalom. Yeah. I don't think people that have never seen One Piece, I don't think they are ready for just how bonkers this show gets. It gets pretty bonkers, which they're doing a good job of grounding it. I love that they're just making, because it's a manga, and Mr. Nine, for example, has the crown and is very eccentrically dressed, and it's for, because they're characters in a manga. It's supposed to be over the top. But I like how they're, like, playing it as you're a theater kid, and they're just saying that Baroque Works in general all dress ridiculous and have the ridiculous names. It's all theatrical. Look, I want to get into this episode because we got a lot to talk about. First of all, Emily Rudd as Nami, again, so good. Love her. Mocking as Zoro, this episode, I was cracking up. He had all the so it's a girl. with the uvula.
That seems like a running gag in every form of media that nobody knows what a uvula is.
Well, it's kind of like a weenus. It's kind of like when you get that, I just like that Mockinyu plays up that Zoro is so straightforward. He's not dumb, but he's so straightforward that anything complicated just short circuits. And he's like, no. He's like, I'm not messing with it.
Can I cut it?
Yeah. And then I love that he made the harpoon with the shovel and then it instantly broke. And Nami's like, oh, well, that wasn't gonna work. Their chemistry in this show is so much fun. I have a blast, and her expressions to him, her reactions to everything he says is so hilarious. I love it. I also love, like, every little detail of this show, all the time they took to draw all of these little, like, doodles, the red line, everything is so good. I had a question. Okay, so my question is, Laboon and them are at the Grand Line. Why couldn't Laboon go off the other way to find the ship? Like, why couldn't Laboon follow the ship where it went?
Okay, they didn't show this in season 1 except for, like, one episode. Mm. That one Sea King that took Shanks' arm, that is a minnow compared to what's in the Grand Line.
Oh, see, because I was like, Laboon's big now. They could just go off.
Laboon has graduated from appetizer to a one-day meal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Do we think that Luffy had heard the song before from Shanks?
Probably. It tracks.
Mm-hmm. When he said he'd heard it before, I was like, well, was it Shanks that was singing it? It seems like a pirate song. Garp wouldn't be singing that, so it was probably Shanks that sang it, like, when he saw Luffy as a kid. That makes the most sense. Was this a long portion of the manga, what we covered, or was it fairly short?
I'd say 2 to 3 chapters.
Okay, so we only covered, season 1 covered like 100 chapters. So we covered a very short amount of time in this one episode with Laboon and the whale.
Laboon wasn't real long. It was just getting us set up, getting Nami the log post, and pretty much letting us know through the other characters like Vivi and Mr. Nine and Crocus that the Grand Line operates on a completely different set of rules.
Mm-hmm.
Here, you might as well say up is down, down is up.
Mm-hmm.
And a normal compass will just keep spinning, and you won't be able to find anything unless you have a log post or Jack Sparrow's compass.
I do think it was helpful that it was kind of like a silver lining. They did get swallowed by the whale, but inadvertently it caused her to talk to Vivi to realize that the compass wasn't going to work.
Well, that's where they meet Vivi and Mr. Nine in the beginning.
Oh.
In the manga and stuff, they're there to kill the whale, take it back to Whiskey Peaks so they could use it for food and oil and all that.
That makes much more sense now. That makes sense why they were after the whale. And then all this happens and derails that. Yeah. Which she got the log post from Crocus in the end, so that was good. Also, Crocus was on Roger's crew.
He was the doctor.
And that explains the Walter White, like he's making the sedative, making all that. So he was the doctor and worked for Gold Roger.
And he's one of the few people, other than Rayleigh and Shanks, possibly Buggy, that Roger turned himself in return that they left his crew alone.
Uh-huh. And then they got spared from it. Which is interesting because to see where the crew ended up, Buggy ended up staying a pirate. Shanks is
But he doesn't reveal that he was on Roger's crew.
Right. Honestly, if we're going to talk about Buggy's character, because Buggy right now in the series seems so slimy and like conniving and evil, but to know that he doesn't, and he gloats all the time.
He knows.
Yeah.
He knows the second he says, "Oh, I was a cabin boy on Roger's ship." That opens the doorway to every pirate that is above him in power saying, "Oh, so you're saying you're somebody who possibly knows where Laughtail is." Which
them revealing Laughtail is crazy. So Laughtail is where the One Piece supposedly is.
Yes.
Yeah. When he said Laughtail, I was like, they don't reveal that for like 500 chapters. So I'm like, what? Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, no, you're right. The moment that Buggy said, because Buggy is kind of like a vulture. He's not going to like let himself be picked on. So he's just going to try to stay as above the water as he can.
The only reason he's technically an emperor now is because he keeps using things to his advantage and basically pulling an Usopp and spinning a tall tale that everybody believes.
The fact that Buggy in the manga is an emperor is so freaking funny.
I mean, he tricked everybody into believing Crocodile and Mihawk worked for him.
Yes! That is the best running joke that Crocodile and Mihawk are like, what? Like, that panel's so good. If y'all haven't read the manga, it's fun times. But yeah, speaking of Usopp gets a lot of screen time in this episode. Working with trying to also navigate while the Mary goes through Reverse Mountain, basically freaking out inside the whale the entire time, as he would, nearly getting eaten by acid. So almost got dipped in the Toontown Who Framed Roger Rabbit dip, is what it looked like. Benzene, acetate, they call it the dip.
This is how we do things down in Toontown, Mr. Valiant.
This is how we do things in Laboon. So, I just like how Taz, basically the actor playing Sanji, just got to be so comfy casual for like this entire episode. He's like,
Well, it probably sank to have to wear a 3-piece suit.
Fair. And honestly,
all time.
Yeah, for the logistics purposes, I loved, one, Luffy being so excited about Reverse Mountain. Very Luffy. I loved all four of them working together to try to save the Mary. Of course, I love the line where Zoro breaks the propeller and she's like, your big muscles broke it. And she's like, not a compliment. He's like, not a compliment. Zoro will make lemonade out of lemons. I thought the animation for Reverse Mount was great. I thought that the effects and everything looked wonderful. I thought because I didn't remember any of this, I was like, does the ship end up getting wrecked? Does it get hurt? The tangerines and, like you said, everything flying around on the ship, like being an obstacle, was really cool.
That makes me excited for if we do get to it, Skypia. Because to get there, they have to go up an updraft.
Oh, yeah.
Which is basically this, but they have to do it the rock bottom SpongeBob way.
Oh, yeah.
The full 90-degree angle up.
That would be crazy. I love the practical effects of all this. This was great. And Luffy using his powers to help steer the ship. Like, Luffy didn't just sit up on the mast and do nothing, you know. But yeah, the acting in all of this was so good. I love that. And then they get up to Reverse Mountain. And there we go. Okay, so there are, like you said, different routes they can go on once they're at the top, right?
Well, all those routes were pulling water up except for the one they were going down.
Oh.
That was all the other
So everything comes up to that one point and you only go one direction out.
Yeah, everything coming from the North Blue, South Blue, and West Blue. Because they were already in the East Blue. Okay,
so yeah, all the 4 paths go up and then you go out one way into the Grand Line.
Yeah.
That makes much more sense. Because I was like, how do they choose the right path? But there is no way to do that. I thought this was going to be like the log flume ride where you just go straight down, but it was a little more angled. That was all right. Okay, so that part was really fun. What a ride. That would have been really cool to film that day, doing that. And then, of course, Laboon. Laboon does not move. And then we have our little... okay, I want to go back real quick. All I could think of when we saw these flowers was Port Gosti Rouge. Did you think of that with the flowers?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm. I thought of Rouge the first time, and I was like, are we going to get a preview of Rouge? We've already got a preview of Ace being around. I was like, are we going to do that? And then the little Laboon weather vane. That was cool. So, like you said, in the manga, this is reversed, where Luffy is... Luffy's outside and
with
Crocus, and inside the whale
is the rest of them. Mm-hmm. Well, it's the same thing. It's just Crocus is on the outside
instead of the inside. Yeah. But
he gives them the same introduction as well. His name, blood type, Gemini sign.
Love that. That's so Oda. That's such good Oda humor. I forgot that Laboon... I always remember Laboon having the scars, but I forgot it was because of him hitting the mountain over and over again trying to get back to his friends. Like, the moment that was real, I was like, I just thought he'd been picked on by fish, and I was trying to remember, and then... That's so sad. Like, everybody reads One Piece being like, what a silly little pirate adventure. And it's like, no, this series is dark as hell. Like, it goes into some really dark places. And so, like, Luffy trying to keep Laboon from self-harming and all this and this, I was like, this is really sad. And then the idea that he's, like, can't let go of his friends that have left. I'm like, oh, my heart went out to this whale. And then the baby version? Shut up. That was intentional. They were baiting so hard with the little baby version of the whale. That was so freaking sad. Nope. So yeah, I liked the setup of the lighthouse and everything with Crocus. I loved Crocus as actor. He was really good. Okay, so I want to get into this. There's not much to add with Crocus. He was just pretty one for one, like, just exactly. I like that he has the same accent as Garp, so that's fun. He did sound like Scrooge McDuck. He did sound. So I was like, is this the voice actor for him? The inside of the whale looks great. Love the other ships too. Love that, the spookiness. I also like the fact that the crew has to figure out how to do things without Luffy. And none of them are devil fruit users. So they've all got to figure out, like, okay, how are we gonna make this work without having special powers that allow us to do such things? Meanwhile, Cullum Kerr...
I'm going to the Grand Line. You can tell the spears to shove it up their ass.
I'm so glad we get to see more of Tashigi and Smoker. And, man, okay, so who knew that we would see Garp as well as Helmeppo and Colby yet again? I was like, yeah, they all look so good! Yes! Yep, Vice Admiral Garp. Everything about, anytime Garp's on screen, I'm like, they're going to reveal things that are just going to make me really excited about the show. Yeah, also, what does Helmeppo have? Does he have, like, a little swatter in his hand? Like a net? He's like, I'm going back to Marine headquarters. Aw.
Which means if we do see him at Marine headquarters this season, we might see Sengoku early.
Oh, if we saw some of the other admirals, that would be so good. I don't know if I'm ready to see Akainu. I don't know if I'm ready to see him yet. Well,
we don't meet Akainu until, like, Marines forward.
Do we really not meet him till that arc?
Yeah, the first one we meet is Akoji.
Yeah.
Right before Water 7.
Okay.
Then we have Kuzan?
Yeah.
Kuzan, he shows up after Luffy punches the celestial dickhead.
Oh my gosh, the fact that they revealed we'll get into Garp's whole tangent because I was like, sir, you have some connections.
And then we get Akainu at Marineford.
Akainu's such a jerk. I cannot stand Akainu. He's the worst. So yeah, also Helmeppo. Look at them, doing really good. Now who's Bogard?
That's the guy with the hat.
Oh, because they mentioned him doing a new form of push-ups.
That's his second in command that like walks around with the hat down. You don't see his eyes.
Oh!
Sword, wearing the 3-piece suit. Pretty much acting like, go ahead, make my day.
I forgot about Bogard. Okay. Also, I talked about this in the reaction. I love all the little details with Crocus's little shop. I wonder if we can see the Gold Roger.
And that's just a bad place to put a sonogram.
Oh, yeah. What a terrible place to put a sonogram. That was
right next to the door.
What? That was a terrible decision. Okay, they pan by really fast, but you can see the Gold Roger and him portrait when he walks in. But they pan by it so fast that you don't see it, and they pan away from it. That's amazing. Also, I just love how, have you ever seen pictures of Oda's office?
Yeah. And
how messy and like maximalist and like just full of stuff it is. Like, I just imagine this, because if you've read One Piece before, the panels are just filled with things. Like, there's so much detail, and some people don't like it. I think it's impressive, but this feels so maximalist, like all of that. Okay, we need to get into this. So yeah, we've got him, the Alabasta Princess are missing, and Luffy just comes in like, boop, Dunzo. I do like the little whale. The Laboon clock is adorable. Love that. And Luffy's like, you're going to take me to my friends. And he's like, they're all dead. I do like, okay, we're going to get to it here in a second, but I do like the fact that Crocus has interacted with Luffy and compares him to Gold Roger because he sees the same spirit in him. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But speaking of which, so Garp, he's not at this point. Is he in the manga? This is all added, right?
Yeah, we don't officially meet Garp until after Marineford.
That's crazy that we don't officially meet Garp till after Marineford. That's
not Marineford, Water 7.
That's still crazy. Like, he's not in any of this.
No, we don't even know he took on Kobe and Helippo.
That's so wild.
Except for like a few scenes of those little one-panel things in front of the chapters.
Oh, the covers.
Yeah, because in the covers he's wearing a dog head mask.
That's right! Yes!
And it shows him getting attacked by Axan Morgan, and it was because he was asleep while standing right in front of him.
Oh my god. I remember the dog head, but I forgot that wasn't like actually in the manga. It was just him on the cover pages.
He does show up with it in the manga, but then he takes it off and he goes, and Luffy reveals that's his grandpa. And he tells him, don't you remember when I trained you, when I threw you into that bottomless ravine? When I threw you into that jungle with no human contact? Or when I tied you to a bunch of balloons and let you soar miles and miles into the air?
See, that's why when Helmeppo said physical abuse aside, it wasn't that was funny. It was just that, yes, Garp does really could potentially hurt you.
All to make you a strong Marine.
Yes, to make you a strong Marine. Like, that's what's so funny about it. Also, I like the idea of, like, the lineage of Garp relating to Smoker, relating to Colby. It's like going through the generations, because that's a big part of One Piece, and relating to him. Speaking of which, Garp has a lot of friends in various places. Because Smoker talks about, he's like, are you comparing... Okay, when he says, are you comparing Luffy to Roger, you talked about this last week, about everybody believing that Luffy is Gold Roger's son. And at the time, now it's becoming very apparent that the show is making a big deal about what are all these comparisons between Luffy and Gold Roger, and Garp said he'd take care of Gold Roger's son, so grandson, sure, but is it actually Gold Roger's son that he's passing off, you know?
They are throwing so many red herrings.
So many red herrings. Yep. And it's because they don't want to talk about the Will of D.
And it was, and that anniversary thing was the only clue that was like, yeah, here's why you're all wrong.
The age thing doesn't match up. Does it? But if you don't, I mean, did they say that Luffy was 17 in season 1? I think they did. Yeah, I think they did. So you could use that. Garp's saying he's given up trying to protect Luffy. He's given up trying to make Luffy a Marine. Which, you know, you didn't work out with your son. Didn't work out with your grandson either.
Well, technically, Dragon was a Marine. He just decided that instead of just sitting by and letting the Celestial dickheads do whatever they wanted, he was going to start making problems for him.
So yeah, so then we get this whole run of the Revolutionary Army gaining supporters. And I was like, you would know about that, Garp. You would know about that. And then that's when Smoker when he says, I don't think we've got it yet. When he said that he saw...
He was there.
Was it back there?
Yeah. Because he stood up from the couch after he said it.
Yeah, okay, when he's like, I saw a dragon. And it's like, that's your son. So...
Well, what I said earlier, did you put that in the official report?
Because...
Dragon interfered with the arrest of Monkey D. Luffy.
Oh!
Because if Garp knew Luffy was there, knew Luffy escaped, that means he read an official report, but now he's acting shocked that he's hearing about Dragon.
Yeah.
So, Smoker, were you not following protocols and reporting of a vicious terrorist?
It also is so baffling to me that you have Garp, who's the Vice Admiral of the Marines, is like totally Marine coded everything. His son is the leader of an anti-government, like, vigilante organization. And then his grandson is going to be king of the pirates. We just got further and further away.
To be fair, Luffy's interpretation of a pirate is, I'm going to sail wherever I want, adventure new places, which is basically just, I'm going to be an adventurer with extra steps.
And by Garp's definition that Colby iterates to Tashigi, it is following your own code. Dragon's code is stopping the world government by beating up, celestial dragons, things like that. Luffy's code is being free and being king of the pirates. So they're really doing the essence of what Garp is teaching, just not within the Marines.
They're following their moral codes. It's just not the moral codes that you want.
Exactly. Also, it's so funny to me, and this isn't a big thing, but in the manga, Garp seems so huge. And then, like, him and Smoker are, like, almost eye to eye, but Garp is, like, 7 foot tall in the manga.
Which makes me wonder how they're going to do Whitebeard.
That's the thing. Whitebeard, I'm glad you pointed that out. We didn't talk about that last week. Whitebeard's, like, 9 feet tall. He's so freaking huge. And intentionally, he's supposed to be this big guy. And Blackbeard, too, is supposed to be. And then Big Mom is just going to be CGI.
Blackbeard's just a fat ass.
Not wrong.
Teach is only, like, a few feet taller than Zoro.
That's fair. He's just huge.
Yeah, he's just fat. His arms are, like, skinny.
Mm-hmm. Big Mom is probably just going to be, like, an optical illusion where they find a woman and just film her and make her look bigger than everybody. Because Big Mom that's terrifying. Whole Cake Island's going to be a thing. But we haven't even got to Dressrosa at that point, so... Yeah. All right, I did like Sanji and Usopp going around trying to find... Okay, in the manga, is this how we meet in the Mr. Nine?
No, Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday we meet because Crocus intentionally went inside Laboon to treat him because he said he couldn't do it from the outside anymore. Okay. So he has to, like, inject him and stuff from the inside. And made some pathways inside him. Mm-hmm. Even made, like, a hatch to go in and out.
That's right, which would have been kind of weird for the live action.
They find those two. They have bazookas, and they're going to fire them inside of him. They get knocked out. They tie him up, and they take him with them. Okay. Well, I like the twist of having him pretend to be the dead guy. And then... what is Mr. Nine's devil fruit ability? He doesn't have one. Oh, he doesn't? We're still early in the Grand Line. Okay, so not everybody has devil fruits. Not everyone. We're close to getting to that point. Because Vivi doesn't have one either. No. But Crocodile does, Miss All Sunday does, some of the other ones. After Whiskey Peaks, that's when almost everybody seems to have a devil fruit. Yeah. Okay. Or some kind of enhanced martial art. I did see something online, and it wasn't a spoiler per se, but it was talking, because I knew Mr. Nine was one of the Baroque Works, but in the manga, who does Mr. Nine kind of end up with? Like, there's another Baroque Works member, I'm pretty sure. But in the manga, they have a kid.
Like, Oda just drawn them with a kid?
That may be Miss Monday.
Yeah.
We'll meet her coming up next.
Okay, yeah. Which I was like, oh, that's cool,
She's partnered with Mr. 8.
Oh, yeah.
Igaram.
Yes. I kept thinking of Mr. 8, but then when they revealed that it was Mr. 9, I'm like, yeah, although that 9 is a little bit suspect. But they did muddy it up. Okay, yeah. What do you think of the actor playing Mr. 9?
He plays the character really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like him. And then I like Vivi's actress so much. She's great already. She has kind of like a princess vibe to her, but she's hiding it by being Miss Wednesday, but she has kind of a royal elegance to her already. Awesome race to that giant bird. That giant big old bird in Alabasta. Okay. So then, I feel like as far as the storytelling goes, it's pretty straightforward with Luffy winning over Crocus to help Laboon and his friends. So the ship! We get to see Brooks' ship!
We won't see again until it's in the Floridian Triangle.
Ugh! What a tragedy. What a tragedy for this crew. I liked the ship. We had Calico Yorkie, the captain. Of course, that big green coat is epic. I want it so bad. For some reason, I feel like I've seen the actor that plays him in something else. He looked so familiar. He looked really familiar. And then Brooks. Oh,
like Slash.
Yes, he does look like Slash. Yes, the top hat, the glasses, the big giant like puffy. The front part of the shirt, the ruffles. I like the snake skin vest. Like all this looks so good, and the bell bottoms. Oh, the moment we saw the violin in the logo, I was like, "Are we getting Brooks this episode?" And it was just, everything's so perfect. I really am excited. I think they'll pull off the skeleton stuff well. Because if you think about it, if you do motion capture, it's just the face and the hands. Like everything else has the suit. So I don't think that's really going to be hard. I don't think that... It's mainly going to be the expressions that the skeleton uses. But I don't think that'll be too hard. But yeah, Laboon. With the little lion. And then, so is this pretty manga accurate that Crocus convinced him to not let Laboon out?
When we hear the story from Brooke, he said we couldn't take such a young whale on a dangerous journey, so we asked him to stay there alongside a friend we had made at the Cape.
Which is Crocus. So part of this conversation is just made for the live action.
It's pretty much to tell us Laboon's origin, why he's there.
Which, yeah, I just love the idea that this pirate crew took in a whale, like, as a crew member, and then we're going to raise him, and then Crocus is like, you really shouldn't take him out to the Grand Line, because he's going to get eaten by some bigger fish. Which, shut up. That whale's adorable. Freaking cute CGI whale, and he's all huge and everything. How dare this series make me misty-eyed 2 episodes in? Like that shot there. Stop! It almost looks alien. It's so cute. I cannot. No. Poor sad Laboon. Nobody makes Laboon sad. So yeah, Binks's Brew. And that's the song that Luffy and them know. What is that supposed to be behind it? It looks like flower petals, but what is that supposed to be?
That's what they are. It's part of his hair.
Oh. I do like how
That's why he's called Flower Pops.
Well, I do appreciate the accuracy of the wardrobe and the character design to make it look as much like the manga as possible. I appreciate that. Also, he's just drinking booze on this lighthouse, on this island 24/7. Just nothing but Mai Tais. So, yeah, they try their best. So, basically, Vivi did not untie Mr. 9. So, that's going to be interesting.
They're stuck on a ship that's not fixed. The only person that can fix it is the guy dangling above the acid.
I just wonder, since she got out but didn't rescue him to try to take back the ship, if he's gonna be like suspicious of her because of that action.
No, because he kind of trusts Vivi a lot more than he trusts anybody else in the organization. And in it, we actually see that in the fact that him and Miss Monday try to stop Valentine and Mr. 5 from going near her.
What is Miss Valentine's power again? Is Mr. 5?
Kilo.
Oh yeah, yep, the stomp on ya. Yep, we talked about that last week. Yeah, I do really like the actor. I just like that Sanji had not stand their fashion. Sanji's like, how dare you not be in a 3-piece suit and be in these eccentric wardrobes. Okay, also, I really love the transponder snail being a projector of like this, looks like film grainy silent movies. It's just the base, it's like recordings of what's happened.
Seen somebody pointed out that if you go back and look at the season 1, the snails all have features of the people who own them.
Really?
Yeah, like Garp's has like the goatee beard.
Oh, I want to go back and see if we can notice that. Because we do get the transponder at the very beginning.
Well, that's the normal marine. But
it's got, his has a little beard and the goatee. That's so cute. Okay. And so we get a little bit about Baroque Works and that nobody has ever found one alive. And then Tashigi's like, wait a minute. I've talked to one of them.
And I didn't put it in the report or tell them that I made contact with the lady that's on the projector.
Yeah, I was expecting in this moment for Tashigi to be like, hey, I saw her, but she didn't do it. And I guess that would have been too much of a deviation from the manga because we don't see any of that in the manga, right?
Yeah, and, well, that Robin alone will cause a lot of problems. Because it's Devil Child, Nico Robin.
So, I mean, I get it. In the moment, I could see somebody that hasn't read the manga to be like, well, why didn't she just say anything in the moment? It's like, shh. Be like, shh, we got to get through the series. We're already adding stuff that's not in the manga, so let's not get crazy. I do like this kind of conflict between Garp and Smoker of what to do. And whether Smoker should go after Luffy, which granted, Garp is like, I don't care about my grandson. I don't care what he does. But he's like, Smoker, you can't go after him. You've got to go look for Baroque Works. It's like, you can't chase after my grandson. You've got this important task to do. And it's going to lead him to this. They're all going to, all roads are
It's going to lead to Baroque Works.
All roads lead to Luffy.
Yes, because in Alabasta, he chases Luffy and his crew through a casino that's owned by Crocodile, gets trapped with them in a sea stone cave. So he can't phase himself out.
I'm so ready. And they talked about the tip of his weapon having the sea stones. They brought that up too. Which, you know what? Honestly...
Well, we already got that with Buggy and the cuts.
Honestly, though, I give Smoker a lot of credit because to have your, like, one weapon you could use, have your weakness on your back at all times... Like, if somebody took that weapon and used it against you, that's a big risk.
Well, he's Smoke.
Right. But it's still a big risk. Like, if you face somebody and they figured that out and they had the means, you're kind of like handing them the weapon.
It's mainly just in case there is an idiot who somehow got devil fruits like Buggy on the East Blue, and then they go there and they're like, well, I'm a devil fruit user. You can't fight me. Punches him, Smoke, and he's like, oh, shit, you're a Logia.
I'm so ready to get to Alabasta. But we have to have Chopper first. And we have to get through Whiskey Peaks.
And Little Garden.
Yes. Which we're only 2 episodes in, so that's a fun time.
Little Garden, where we meet Miss Golden Week and Mr. 3.
I remember at this point in the manga being really excited because I'm all about, like, this felt very much like the Arrancar and Bleach. It felt like the Baroque Works were kind of like, each of them had numbers or names. It was kind of like the Arrancar and their numbers, and so there was like a little antagonist comparison there. I thought that was a lot of fun. But yeah. And then Makanyu gets to wear this sweet leather jacket as Zoro, which is just bitchin'. Love that for him. Love that. And so then, yeah. I didn't know what Luffy was going to do going to the whale, like what his big speech would be, but is this essentially it where he sings the song?
In the manga, he rips the mast off the Mary and uses it like a spear onto Laboon, fights Laboon, and then says, we fought, now we're friends.
No, that seems...
We'll have to have a rematch when I get back here, so don't be dying. Then he paints the skull on his face and goes, don't ram into this, because that's our contract and proof that we gotta have a rematch.
See, somebody, there was a patron called El Freya that they haven't watched past the Alabasta arc, and they were like, at what point, you said last season that there was a point where you really liked Luffy, what point was that? And for me, it's the time skip. Like, the time skip in Luffy's conversation with Rayleigh, where he's, like, crying about wanting to see his friends again, that's when I got all on board with Luffy's character. Before that point, there were parts of things that sometimes Luffy would do that I was like, Okay. And then the fighting Laboon, that does seem like I would be like, Luffy, nah, I
We're
beat
going
you.
to cure trauma and childhood abandonment with violence.
That's literally it, yeah. We're going to solve your cycle of trauma and abandonment issues by me beating the crap out of you. Like, so with that in mind...
To be fair, that's how Garp raised him.
True. He's only doing by the example he learned from. So you can't get mad at Luffy for that. But he grows up a lot over the course of the series. But I do like what they did here, where it was more somber and sad and heartfelt. So Luffy connecting with Laboon by being like, hey, here's the song that your crew sang. You know, that speech he gave, I loved a lot, by like some people leave in your life, like Garp, Ace, Sabo, Shanks, where Luffy could connect all that, but then he's like, but some people stay, like your crew, and it was like, very sweet. I loved that. And then yes, he paints the skull on him to make the contract. A little bit better than him beating the tar out of him with a harpoon.
And ripping the mast off the Mary.
Yeah, you know, that would seem rather counterintuitive since we spent all episode trying to fix the Mary if Luffy just came in and ripped the mast off. That would have been awful.
It's one of the reasons why when we get to Frankie, he makes them the new ship, because Mary at that point is in more pieces than the Argo.
Yeah, okay, I do remember that, because Frankie, like, they looks at the ship and he's like, oh no.
The main part is broke.
Yeah.
Like, he says it's probably got like 1 or 2 more islands in it before it sinks.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and they're like, oh. Meanwhile, back on the island where they got the Mary from, Sheepman's like, what are you doing to my ship? I need my friends, Laboon. Oh, I love that. It's so sweet. And then they all come out. I love how hopeful they are. They're like, oh, hell yes. They're like, get us out of this ship before anything else happens. And then, yep. I also, this actor, he was so good as Crocus. When he had the little tear coming down his face, and he's like, I'll be damned. Like, you really kind of, he went through a character arc in this one episode of being the grumpy man that, you know, is just trying to keep Laboon from killing himself. And
well,
then
he just saw what was basically a younger version of his best friend who sacrificed himself.
Yeah. His actor did such a good job. That's the thing. When you sign up to be on this show and you see the script and you've not read the manga, you don't know this like goofy but dark resonating story. When he got this and saw the costume and everything, he had to be like, what? And then to be able to act and just channel that character and make it so real and authentic, I'm like, that won me over. I was like, that's really sweet. Every actor on the show, they take it so seriously. I also wanted to play this game. I wanted to play this game where they're shooting little balls into the ships. The cannons. That's cute. Wanted to play that.
Must you beat me at and show me up at everything? Yes. I think it's just a good way of showing that Helmeppo is bad with firearms. Mm-hmm. He's going to get his Kukari knives.
Yeah, and that was a good tie-in when Tashigi's like, I like swords. And he's like, oh, me too. And it was like, mm-hmm. That's a nice little foreshadowing that he's going to be getting some swords too, which is fun.
Meanwhile, Kobe is like Luffy and Garp. He's going to punch things.
Yeah. I love Kobe so much. I'm glad. I was really worried we would never see Kobe again till like 12 seasons later. And then I'm glad that that's not the case. And Tashigi is so adorable. I love her and her little, like, her love of swords and trying to track them all down. And Colby convinces her to, I felt like the song from Tangled where it's like, or Has Been Hotel, I have a dream. Like, I felt like that. That was immediately what I thought of whenever he said that.
Kobe basically telling her, here's what you do. You look Smoker right in the face. You say no. You flip him off. And then you get on the ship.
And that's what she does without flipping him off. But yeah, I love that Colby, because the series is so hopeful. It's about hope through adversity, and I like the idea. I also love Colby saying like why they became a Marine, to like protect people, that because Colby had been disenfranchised and like, you know, bullied, and now he was trying to like help people not end up in that same position. I love that. Also, I love the little gestures of Usopp fixing the door that Luffy broke down.
Well, he said earlier, you know how bad it is to get a door payment out here.
Mm-hmm. And I love that, I like the little, like, it looks like a watering trough for a cow they've converted into a grill. That's really cool. Love that. Love Sanji's cooking. He's got like the bottle of wine out there. That's really cute. It's the little details. And then Zoro's like, oh, free booze? Zoro's like, free booze? I ain't turning that down. And so, okay, so in the manga, he goes back to living in Laboon. Crocus does.
He still lives on the lighthouse, but he leaves the stuff in Laboon in case he needs to go back in.
I love that. I love that little tie-in. And so then they're like, what are we going to do? And that's when he talks about the log pose to give her. Yeah, Zoro just looks freaking good in this episode. All right, so we get the log pose, and then he paints it on Laboon, which is so adorable. So is Laboon a crew member?
Technically, yes.
Controversial take. Laboon is the 5th crew member.
They have a lot of crew members that don't actually travel with them. Mm-hmm. I mean, technically, Carrot is a member.
Oh, yeah, I know. Everybody, I remember everybody was saying that Carrot was an official member.
Yamato is.
Yamato is definitely an unofficial. Carrot is, Yamato is, Laboon.
Kiname.
Mm-hmm. Kiname is. Yes. All unofficial members.
There are a lot of characters that travel with them for a little bit, both canon, non-canon, who are all considered part of the crew.
Fair.
Hey, Toriko is part of the crew.
If they're going to preview Wano and preview Kaido, if they previewed Yamato with Ace, I would lose my mind. I would lose my mind.
If they were doing that, they'd do Tomo.
Fair. They probably would. Yeah.
Because Tomo is basically Ace's daughter.
Kind of. Yeah, kind of. I would lose my mind. I'd be like, yes, please. You're one of us now, Laboon. You're the unofficial 5th member. Oh, that's such a good shot. That's really great. I love that. Laboon also showing how much they've grown, because the Mary is a pretty big ship. So to see, like, it was probably the same size as Brooks's ship.
Brooks is a little bit bigger.
But still, like, if it was, like, a little bit bigger there, let's say it's, like, out to here. Laboon was still, like, a little bitty whale. And now how big he is. And the fact that that's still tiny compared to Sea King's is crazy.
Yeah. Most of those are in the Calm Belt, though. And the only ones that can safely navigate the Calm Belt are the Marines.
Yes. Why are the Marines able to navigate the Calm Belt?
I forget what the technical name is, but from the figurehead down the spine, the middle of the ship, it's covered in sea stone.
Oh!
It's a light coating, and because of that, it makes them invisible to the Sea Kings.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, I forgot about that. That's awesome.
So, and since there's no wind, they have some kind of like rotor or something on them, so they can easily travel the Calm Belt, and that's what they use to go to all their bases.
Oh, well, that explains it. Did she get hit from the last episode? And that's like a bruise or something that's left over from last week? Because it looks like a bruise.
Maybe.
Maybe, like when she was fighting Zoro.
Zoro did kind of throw her around a little bit.
Yeah, so probably. I'm glad she told Smoker that she was going. She's like, I'm going to find these swords. And he's like, fine, whatever. I love it. You know, Smoker's a secret softie. He was going to let her go.
Fine. But no dancing!
The moment she started doing a dance, I started to think of Dragon Ball Z Abridged, where it's like, do you want to do the pretty princess dance?
My father would command no such thing. You're right. It was your brother.
Also, I love that she's so short, they made her like eye level with him to kind of be like, to kind of match it, which is great. And so, yeah. So Vivi, or Miss Wednesday, and Mr. Nine are still trapped in the ship. That outfit is straight out of the manga. I love her with the mode tank top. Great. And so we're getting ready to go. And then, damn, he reveals. Is that Garp in the picture below it? Maybe. But definitely him and Roger. Man. When do you find out in the manga that he is on Roger's crew? Is that way down the line?
Yeah, I think it was Rayleigh who talked about it.
Okay. I love Rayleigh. Rayleigh's such a good character. I always called him Raleigh because I was thinking of the town. But it could be Rayleigh. People will comment if we're pronouncing it wrong.
And we will probably ignore them.
Oh, so this is great. So we think Whiskey Peaks is next?
That's what should be next.
I like the pun on, what was the first episode? It was the beginning and the end, which was tied to Logtown. But I like that this was, Good Will Hunting, Good Whale Hunting. If it's Whiskey Peaks, what pun can we do with whiskey and movie titles? We'll have to think about that. But anyway, thank you, bro, for joining me to talk about this episode. This was a lot of fun. If you all want to comment down below, we will be very much looking forward to. We won't be able to record together for a couple weeks, but then we'll be recording episode 3 together, and that'll be a good time. And by then, I'll be able to read your comments. And if any of them stand out, we'll talk about them before the episode starts. So, anything else to add about all this?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, my brother and I will be back to talk about episode 3 of One Piece live action very soon. And I'll see you and we'll see you then. Bye.